work because, you know, bicycles could from somebody, we don't go up that company. How about shoes? Well, shoes, no, because we're going to go up that company too. They can't wear those shoes. How about pants and shirts? Well, that company too. We're going to get rid of that. Should they go nude in their birthday suit? So if that happens, no, because their mom and daddy was white, they probably racist. So see how ridiculous it can get when you don't shut it down? But these businesses are caving for people that don't even shop or go to their places. Disneyland caved. Now, I saw this movie years ago. What was the song of the South or something? Didn't know that Disneyland thing was racist, whatever, at that period of time. Where they put that in there. They caved. Now, they said they got like 20,000 complaints. Okay, Disneyland. Millions of people go to your park, music park, every year. Them 20,000 people, they can't afford your tickets because they don't have a job. They don't go to your music park. So they should say the same thing. He said, screw you. Okay, you don't come to our park. And we not listen to anything you got to say. Now we want to do some upgrades, whatever. We're going to do that, whatever. But everything can be racist, okay? If you put that label or title on it. People got to stand up and say no. It's enough.
That's right.
Now I know there's a gentleman here talking about the COVID. We're going to run through this very quickly, just by the numbers, okay? And you can say kind of what you and Mr. and Janice and Doug, who's our help with this number and stuff too. And this is back in May when we first did this, and we do pamphlets. And so we were trying to think about, you know, how many people actually died for COVID or information we have. We found out at that time it was like 94,000 deaths, okay? In the long-term facilities and workers, it was 35,000. That's all over the United States, okay? So now you're down, you take that out for 26, okay? For long-term care, blacks, Latinos, population, altogether 62,000, okay? So now you're down to 32, and then like I said, 25 to 30% of people are being misdiagnosed. So you died with COVID, you will die of COVID. And what they're doing is taking those numbers and switching them around. And my thing is this, if you would have taken care of the people, Governor Cuomo, in nursing home facilities, and people that are poor on the street or live in those disastrous places you have to live in, whatever, most of those deaths would have occurred. Now the first month you didn't know, but after the first month you knew exactly where the deaths were coming from, and you put no energy to it. You put those people back into those homes. When President Trump, hey, help me, man, I need some help. He said he rebuilt the Javits Center as a hospital bed, and he sent the Mercy ship.
That's right.
Almost nobody in there.
That's right.
And all those people in the nursing homes dying. Now the workers were mainly blacks and Latinos also, because they have a low income. They also died because those ventilation systems are bad. Everybody bring that same dirty air. But if you would spread those people out, cleared up, and send people to the Javits Center and to the Mercy ship available. So I think right now they got 30,000 or so deaths, whatever they have. Still the same people that nursing homes and people that are poor because they don't have good medical facilities, and people that have underlying conditions. Now another thing we looked at too, we were doing this for deaths because they tried not to send kids back to school. So I said, okay, we got 50 million or 40 million kids here in the United States from infant to 24 years old. So this all came from the CDC. So we looked back in March, how many people from died, so they said COVID. We got 40 million kids, 88. Why aren't them kids in school?
Yes.
And it's not really even 88. If you look at it, maybe one or two, maybe. And you got all these people out of school for a reason it's not really affecting young people, and 99.9% of people are recovering. You had no business shutting down the whole United States. There was no reason to do that.
That's
okay,
it.
with everything going on. Something else was in play here, but the numbers don't match what you said. Again, you take care of people that were sick in nursing homes, and black and Latinos, which most of them were poor, whatever. That's 75 to 80% of your cases. You had very few COVID cases that were taking place.
0 deaths in California for kids under 25.
Right.
Zero.
Oh, and this one here, we just have a breakdown board through demographics, and then also we had comparison to the different conditions, you know, for heart disease, kidney disease, things like that, are killing people also here in the United States. I didn't know this when people dying a year from this other diseases. And guess what? With so much emphasis being put on COVID, a lot of these diseases are not being diagnosed, or they're being missed, or are not being going untreated. So a lot of people right now are dying. So when somebody said with Texas, well, because they talk about cases, whatever Gilliam said here, I don't care about cases. You know they're gonna throw that up there. How many deaths you have? Very little. Now they said hospitalization. So the guy in Texas said this. He said, listen, the hospitalization are not coming from COVID patients. He said 15% of those were COVID. The rest of those were people that weren't having care because we didn't take care of them. So we're not having a big surge of COVID cases, it's other things going on. Can you think we can put that message out there? Does anybody hear that? Is what it is, whatever. So now it's cases, and you get this big number, whatever. Millions of us probably have this already, okay? And so they work through the system. If it's been here since last November, December, and according to China, it probably was here last September, okay? That's worked itself to our side already. Millions of people haven't died. We have a bigger flu season we have here, whatever. Take care of the people that are sick. You wouldn't even have a problem. Now, I don't know if you guys know about this, and I just found out about this, and it breaks your heart. So they have this island in New York called Hart Island. So if you don't have anybody, especially during COVID, that claims you, not only claims you, had to be a funeral director, well, they weren't letting funeral directors in. So all the people were dying. So what they did, took those people. So if you look at your relatives, they out there buried in that grave on Hart Island. That's what they are. That's what it is. That's why you can't find your relatives. Because they weren't letting them in, funeral record out there, where you can't come in. So thousands of people they probably put out there in Hart Island that you'll never hear from again. And most of them again were poor people. Okay, blacks and Latinos are people that are suffering more. Now this one thing about for the Black Minds Matter. So we're just read a few statistics here because I'm very involved with the school choice. Okay, 75% of black children are born out of it. We had a lot of people talk about that already. When I was growing up, 90% were in. 7% of black boys in California don't meet state reading and writing standards. 50% of black boys in California don't meet state English standards. 80% of black boys fail to meet state reading standards by the state grade. In large percent of these kids wind up on welfare, homeless, in jail, or the graveyard. 6% of juvenile delinquents and 80% of adult inmates are embarrassed. 40% of black boys in California do not finish high school. California black students are twice as likely as white students to be identified as learning disabilities and more likely to be identified as special education. They put them in special education class at them. Okay. Your child is unlikely to learn to read proficiently. California rates about 46 out of 50 states and the nation's fourth grade reading proficiency, with roughly 3 to 4 students, 70% failing to read at grade level. Despite California teachers being among the highest paid in the United States. So I don't know if you guys heard the story or not, like in Baltimore. So they did this study, whatever. So 13 of their schools in that school district they were at, 13 schools, not one child, I think, passed reading proficiency or math proficiency. Wow. Out of 13 schools in Baltimore. Now this is the thing, you know when President Obama did the big stimulus package, what they used to call it, for $1 trillion, whatever, Baltimore got $1.2 billion. Where's the money? So last year, I saw kids in school with parkas on, okay? Reading like this going on, or kids not proficient in anything at all. A lot of these lawmakers should be in jail. So what needs to happen, there should be an audit done on all these cities and stuff like that to see where the money went. And so we're gonna handcuff you, we're gonna perk walk you right up to the courthouse and you go into jail. Because a lot of this money, the contractors went to their friends and buddies, they stole that money. But it was supposed to be for a shovel-ready job and supposed to be in inner cities. Why does inner cities still look like hellholes? Why do they look worse than third world countries? And you got all this going on. So California school choice, Mr. Hauser and Ms. Janice, we're definitely pushing that. They're gonna be statewide representatives here. We did a event in the Crenshaw Christian Center in February before everything shut down. So we're gonna start hitting churches and stuff that have like schools on site, because we got to get the churches involved. The families have been decimated. We got to now start the church to build a school and build a family up.
Yeah, that's good.
Okay, next. You go from there. Oh, this is how the program works, but you know, they'll talk to me about it, talk to me. Okay, now I'm one to believe in solutions, because we got way too much stuff going on here. Okay, so if you're a business or individual person, you know they're getting all these billions of dollars. What they need to do instead, because money never gets down to the people that are on the ground, they need to adopt a neighborhood. So if you got a neighborhood that's a school, and so Michael Jordan gave like $100 million. Say, Michael, instead of giving one of these groups that steal your money, what you do, adopt the neighborhood. Go into that neighborhood, put the parents to work, clean it up, put the school kids in school. The money's going directly back into that one neighborhood you have, maybe just 6 blocks. That's your neighborhood. Right. If billionaires and millionaires will pick that up all across California, in 1 year you will see a dramatic change in cities. Parents, we're gonna train you. Now, also you're gonna be doing the work, okay? So when you get out there, you're gonna be roofers, you're gonna be contractors, you're gonna be electricians, you're gonna be plumbers, you're gonna get your certificate, all that's gonna be done in that period of time, okay? And that's your 6 block, don't worry about it, just that one 6 block that you have. Now the money's going directly to the neighborhood, okay? Corporation individuals need to demand an audit organization, we talked about that, receive donation, where's the money? Because it's going to people's pocket, okay? And corporate individuals should demand that before they give these groups any more money. Give money directly to the families that lost one. So you have people that just lost a family member, instead of giving it to all these groups of people, I don't want to even say their name, whatever, go into these neighborhoods that just lost their kids, whatever, give it to their family. Here's $25,000 to help you. Here's $50,000 to help you. Why are you giving $100 million to somebody when these families are suffering? Because those families are never going to see a dime of that money, okay? Accept President Trump's help, law and order communities, okay? People need to rise up and vote these feckless politicians and get them out of office. So, the problem is a lot of these communities, if you look, people are not voting. When Michael Brown passed away that time too, when he got killed, whatever, and we had black people crying on TV talking about, well, you know, our police chief is black, our city council is black, and our school are white, and our school board is white, all kind of stuff. And I looked around, there's 70% of that population, 6% voted. Shut the hell up. I don't want to hear from you.
Yeah.
Vote. So if you want your city council to represent people that look like you, you're not voting out of office. 1,200 people voted, and you're 70% of the population. And what are you crying about? Okay? I don't want to hear. Get involved. We got too many people. We got power and don't even realize that. But I think a lot of us have been beat down so much. When we were growing up, we had power. We shut down a whole bus system for a year because they wouldn't let Rosa Parks ride, and said, we not ride. And guess what? In 1 year, they were going bankrupt. They said, yo, y'all can come back in. Sit anywhere you want to sit. Okay?
Never tell us.
Community policy policing by neighborhood, assigned by neighborhood. Now, a good idea I had was this. So if you have a police department, instead of them running out everywhere, you assign them to a certain neighborhood. Police, that's your neighborhood. Well, that's you. So if 10 of you, that's one you deal with, just that one neighborhood. So everybody gets to know you. You're involved with the people and stuff too. Instead of different people coming out all the time, they know Officer Joe, they know Officer Mike, whatever, because that is our police officer for our neighborhood. We got to make this thing smaller instead of bigger. Okay. Oh, Tim. Okay. Now some people here like the idea about the response officers in the schools, whatever. I think you should get rid of them. I do believe. Guess what? Because it's parents' responsibility to take care of your bad kids. We're not going to have no more police officers here, so what parents, hundreds of you guys should show up every day and volunteer at that school. You need to take that school back. That's your job. Then we didn't have police officers. So if Joe is doing something, get out of trouble, guess what? Joe, I know who your mama is. She don't get out here. I'm going to talk to her right now, because now it's community that needs to be involved. Okay? Support companies that are boycotted. As if you protest for BLM, you should submit your answers. Check told that. And there's no slave owners. We only take a need for God. That's what I'm bound for. Forget a moment of silence. We need to get back to praying. Okay. Romans 8:31. If God is for us, who can be against us? Genesis 11:1-9 of the Tower of Babel. I love this story. And because of that, God even came down and saw these people were building this tower to heaven. And he was just like, you know, if men get and start doing this thing, whatever they set their mind to, they can do. It's the same thing for us. If we work together as a group, unite as one, there's nothing we'll be able to do. Okay? Let me see here. Support California school choice. My children perish for lack of knowledge. Put up more statues, not tear them down. That way they get a real sense of history. Based on democratic, systematic, racist path, should not the Democratic Party be abolished? They're the biggest race around. Why are they still standing? They should be canceled out, right? Reparations, they spent $20 trillion so far. Nothing worked. This was a reparation right there. So all that money they just spent in these neighborhoods that happened, they could just gave that to black people. Yep. And let us be fine. Go ahead. Okay, now we're just going to, there's nothing really more. We're going to take this tape, play this tape, see if it hits that for a minute. Because I think this is so important. We'll cut it off after a couple of minutes. But this was something, and you can play it right now, that the guy did a race for life, white privilege, and what he did, he asked all these questions.
Hey, line up! Line up! Everybody line up! We're about to race! Hey, line up! Line up! Everybody line up! We're about to race! Everybody line up! Shoulder to shoulder, take off your backpacks, basketball, line up, we're about to race. Hey, we are racing for a $100 bill. The winner of this race will take this. A $100 bill. Before I say go, I'm gonna make a couple statements. If those statements apply to you, I want you to take 2 steps forward. If those statements don't apply to you, I want you to stay right where you're at. Take 2 steps forward if both of your parents are still married. Take 2 steps forward if you grew up with a father figure in the home. Take 2 steps forward if you had access to a private education. Take 2 steps forward if you had access to a free tutor growing up. Take 2 steps forward if you've never had to worry about your cell phone being shut off. Take 2 steps forward if you never had to help mom or dad with the bills. Take 2 steps forward if it wasn't because of your athletic ability, you don't have to pay for college. Take 2 steps forward if you never wondered where your next meal was going to come from. I want you guys up here in the front just to turn around and look. Every statement I've made has nothing to do with anything any of you have done. Has nothing to do with decisions you've made. Everything I've said has nothing to do with what you've done. We all know these people up here have a better opportunity to win this $100. Does that mean these people back here can't race? No. We would be foolish to not realize we've been given more opportunity. We don't want to recognize that we've been given a head start. But the reality is we have. Now, there's no excuse. They still got to run their race. You still got to run your race. But whoever wins this $100, I think it'd be extremely foolish of you not to utilize that and learn more about somebody else's story. Because the reality is, if this was a fair race and everybody was back on that line, I guarantee you some of these black dudes would smoke all of you. And it's only because you have this big of a head start that you're possibly going to win this race called life. That is a picture of life, ladies and gentlemen. Nothing you've done has put you in the league that you're in right now. When I say go,
Okay, turn off. So the difference is, in 1960, black people would have been in front of the line. All the questions they asked, that would have been us. We wouldn't have been in the back of the line, standing back there, because every one of those things granted us because we were family oriented, and 90% of our family were moms and dads. Okay, so this is a new phenomenon in 2019. 1960 completely different story.
Go
Let's go get to the next screen.
next screen.
To the next screen. Oh, that's a, I think that's that. Okay, we already talked about that. Okay, I speak with one voice. Now this was something that Malcolm X said years ago, and still true today. And I kind of paraphrased. He said the Democrats are playing you for political chumps, and if you vote for them, not only are you a chump, but you are a traitor to your race. And at the end of that, he said, because they put you last and you keep putting them first. And in 1960s, he was saying that. Hasn't changed yet. Okay.
Mm-hmm.
Go ahead.
Oh, this?
Go ahead. Yeah, move back. Move back. One more last one. Now I want to share this here because you guys get very emotional sometime about the 2016 election and saying that Hillary Clinton won. This is where messaging come in. She did not win. She lost. See how I read?
Mm-hmm.
Trump won 306 electoral votes, and between 57 and 384 counties he won. Now, so when you do the messaging, this is what you say. When they say, well, she won the popular vote, I say, yeah, but she may have won the popular vote, but that's not how I count it. He won 33 states, 17, he won most of the counties, whatever. He won the popular vote. You say people, I say states and counties. Change the message. Don't let them get away with saying that over and over again. So that's my talk for today. Thank you very much. I appreciate it.
Okay, we have another
Ms. Ashby.
10 minutes for
Don't ask me any
questions.
history questions, because I'm not talking about the history.
Okay.
They've been here, that's
Right.
it.
If you feel it's appropriate, because you did talk a lot about the war on poverty, in light of what you do in your current position, if you think it's appropriate to, at HUD and under Dr. Carson's leadership, under President Trump, do you think any of that would be a good addition to add to what you just presented? What's going on through that in relationship to a lot of great society stuff that came, if you think it's appropriate?
Well, I think telling I do a historical how we got here very quickly. I can't leave that out, but the problem is people don't
Right.
know that history. If you just start where we are right now.
No, I agree with you. I
Right,
just
right.
think, in building up on it, what you're doing right now through
Right.
HUD, you
This is the
think.
thing, okay? This presentation could be 5 hours or more.
Sure.
So we got a limited period of
Sure.
time, you see, to do this. So that people say, there's so much more, but yes, there could.
Sure.
But that means more people need to do their own presentation and find what to do. Guys, this is the thing, our messaging is horrible. We gotta find a way to message correctly. So if somebody asked you, one of your friends, say, well, I'm not voting him because Trump is racist, what would you say?
Why is he racist? What's your proof?
Yeah, I'd ask you, tell me why,
Yeah,
give me
yeah.
an example.
Good, yeah. What makes him racist?
Yeah.
We gotta start like Jesus Christ. He answered the question with a question. What makes him racist?
Mm-hmm.
They got the same one or two things, whatever. Then, because I know history so well, in about 2 minutes, I can run down what real racism looks like, and it shuts them completely out. You gotta know a little bit of history in order to do that, okay? What's another one I always get for Trump? That they say besides racist, what else is he? Oh, no. He's told 20,000 lies. It's up to 20,000 now. So I get a little pen and a piece of paper. Yeah, 20,000 and a piece of paper, and I say name them.
Yep. Right.
So what you have to do is start backing people up. But more than anything, we got to get these kiddies back, okay? Because their minds are being brainwashed by the nonsense. And I know we have opportunity. I know Jansen knows the story when I went to Cal State San Bernardino last year, whatever, and I talked to they had a race summit there. They had a professor standing there and telling the kids how bad America was and white racism. They had the guy on the stage, poor little kid, he was just crying in the prone position because, he was a racist and got all that. I was sitting there just shut up. Please, y'all working my nerve. Another lady came up and talked about, she had a little belly ring showing and telling about white privilege and stuff, little sister girl. And another guy, little boy, came up talking about, where the police, how they hunt down black people, whatever. So they should not ask for people to talk because they had called my name. And so after I dismissed these professors and let them know that these kiddies, they know nothing about you, they don't live like you, they live very wealthy lives, whatever, I'm gonna talk to you kids specifically. And what I did, I gave them the history lesson you have here. In about 7 minutes, I ran down a whole lot of things. They were sitting on the edge of their seat. And when I looked around their little faces, I could tell, I was telling them things they never heard before. So it's our job to get to them. At the end, there were about 4 or 5 boys that came down the stairs, whatever. I thought I'd need my axe handle, because that's what I used to carry around with whatever. The police officer, he said, no ma'am, I got you covered. They mess with you, they're gonna be serious consequences. They came down and spoke to me. They were so respectful, asked me questions, things they never heard before. I had them for 7 minutes. You give me one Saturday with them. That school's gonna be in an uproar. You've got to get out of these silos and get to these
Well, they
children
won't
and
let
start
us.
talking.
They won't
No.
let
No.
There's enough campus stuff for you to do to get involved
That's
in.
right.
A lot of campuses have, Republican parties and stuff, or conservative. They're buying people to come help them. So whenever I have a chance to go out, when they go out, they have, say, someone on the campus there, and they in the, in the quad area there, they have a little table set up. People are walking by and they talking bad to them and cussing out, stuff like that. How about 50 old people show up with my accent? I wish you would say something to one of these kids. These my buddies right here. These my babies you're talking to. Now, if you got a question, I'm gonna answer you. But we gotta stand up and start helping these children that are here that are trying to do a good thing. But they look around and nobody has their back. And we can do that as a group.
I just want to say that Miss Ashley does market night with us, and sometimes she just takes the whole space and she has posters that have like Malcolm X, Martin Luther King, just beautiful pictures with, a little bit of text in it. And she just sits it, right? And people come along and they look, and they end up engaging with her in a way that they never would with us. And she doesn't say anything until they come up to you. And they'll say, well, I was a slave. And she starts talking to them in a way that we can't. And so that's really, the way she does that is very good.
You gotta find your own voice. I can't do what you do. You can't do what I do. Okay? But there's something you can do. God has put everybody Washington, you have that talent and ability. Use that talent that God has given you to invest in your building. And if you do that, you know, we will flourish also, but we gotta get up and I know we're tired, you know, we did this already. A lot of us are 60 or 70, because we don't wanna do this. But until we draw our last breath, God expects us to do some work. Even with your kids, your grandkids, people in the neighborhood, whatever, we gotta get busy. Oh, lady back here, question.
Yes, you have, you are one of the organizations you're representing here. Do you have a way or process that you can be duplicated? I mean, like, for instance, I would be interested in doing what
wish.
you do.
I wish.
Talk to me afterwards. Because everybody has their voice, and some people do that. And I would love for more people to do things like, not to the extent if you can't do that, but just to a smaller extent, but just start getting the word out. So yes, we can work on that, but talk to me
She's got a
afterwards.
beautiful granddaughter.
Okay. Go ahead.
Oh, I was just gonna say, on your question on the last issue about the map in 2016, another good way, like you said, to answer people about that Hillary was a popular vote, that's why you need to know George Santana's famous
Right.
comment about those who forget history, the doomed to repeat
That's
it.
right.
You need to know why the founding fathers crafted the
Like
Electoral
that. That's
College
right.
and the 10th Amendment, which has kind of been
Yeah, thank God.
bastardized called the 17th Amendment, the popular election of your Senate. Mark Levin, I also think, to teach on that. But to be that as it may, if you understand how the word democracy is never mentioned once in our federal
That's right.
Constitution, because it literally means mob rule. The founding fathers despised the concept of a mob rule. Why? Because they knew what had happened to the Roman Empire and what they had fled in Europe.
And the
You
French-
gotta know
the
that.
French
And you
Revolution.
speak that to people, 9 out of 10, their mouths will drop out, they're
That's right.
defenseless. We have the Electoral College, which gives power to the states, which is done by reason. And keep in mind, it was the states that allowed the federal constitution to exist in the first place.
One more question.
So, anyway.
Thank you, Clarence.
Him right here.
Yes, I just got a question for you. Why do black leadership don't condemn illegal immigration? I still understand.
Why don't do
Why
what?
does
Condemn
illegal immigration?
Like the Congressional Black Caucus,
Like the Black Caucus, yeah.
money.
Al Sharpton too busy riding around in his private
KP and
jet.
sign language.
Cause you see, what they do, a lot of them show up when they're kneeling on the ground, they show up when somebody gets killed, President Obama, the same thing. Under him, there's about 8 or 9, high profile deaths.
Yeah.
Was anybody taking a knee? Did social injustice just get here, or inequality, or whatever? Why did they take a knee back then? Cause it had nothing to do with that, these hypocrites, it had to do with President Trump. That's the bottom line. Well, thank you very much.
All right, thank you.
If I come